Hello YouTube, Scamp the Wolf here, back with another video for your viewing pleasure. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the new SPIRITBOX album entitled Tsunami C, and best album of the year so far. Without a doubt in my mind, this is the best album of this year so far. Yeah, this pretty much like decimates everything that was pretty good about this year. I mean, there's been a lot of good releases so far. Ginger, um, that was really good. Paleface Swiss, that was good. This one, easily a contender for album of the year so far. Easily a contender for me, and it might not get there. It might not get there by the time year ends and stuff, and we do our year end lists and stuff. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say this is probably has a very high chance of doing that, and I will explain a lot of different reasons as to why that is. First off, like SPIRITBOX had a lot going for them with this album. I think there's a lot of hype whenever they release something. I mean, take a look at their debut album that had a ton of hype behind it, and of course that turned out to be excellent. And of course with the Fear EP, that had a lot of hype behind it as well. So yeah, they're basically like Courtney LaPlante and like the other members of SPIRITBOX definitely had a lot of like attention for them, and it turned out fairly well, I think. I thought the Fear was kind of like, it was good, but like definitely a very good EP, but like it wasn't their best effort. But this one just like is like the best of what SPIRITBOX has to offer to the world, and a lot of it like is expansive and it's big and it's just, it goes in a lot of places that I think benefit this band. Like, of course, it's typical for Spirit. It's a typical kind of like, if you've heard Eternal Blue, this isn't really like off from that sound. Of course, there's like heaviness, of course, there's growling vocals, which are done really well, in my opinion. There's clean vocals, there's moments that kind of are like Secret Garden, like esque kind of, sort of. There's moments that are like Holy Roller a little bit, but like I think this album, like in heaviness, kind of supersedes a lot of that stuff that was on that album, and a lot of that has to do with like some of the tuning choices that they use. Like, this is a very low, just heavy tuning, and the guitars have such a meaty, like just visceral, just to it. Like when you get to like the opening track, Fata Morgana, if I'm saying that correctly, I don't think I am saying that correctly, but that doesn't really matter for this review. Like, that just right out of the gate hits you with that kind of heaviness, and it just like just hits you hard with that heaviness. Like, that's really all I can say about it. Then with Black Rainbow and stuff, yeah, which tries to go in several different directions with some spoken word, I think. I think another track tries to do that. No Lust, No Love definitely does that in areas, and both times I think they've done really well, I think. And then of course you got the singles on here. I mean, the singles are just great. Soft Spine, Perfect Soul, like those two, the first two that I heard, very good. Perfect Soul, definitely radio-tastic, but so good. This is a lot of depth in the writing and stuff, and in the vocals as well. Courtney has a very good vocal register that I think like pretty much benefits this album a lot with her vocals and stuff. And like, yeah, there's nothing really wrong I could say about that. And the same is true with Keep Sweet, although like it does balance a little bit more with the uncleans and stuff, and those, it's a very well mixed. Like, a lot of tracks kind of mix in between the cleans and the uncleans. Like that one I just mentioned, Keep Sweet, does that. And then Ride the Wave does that as well, like a little bit. Like, it feels like it belongs in the song compared to the album I reviewed last week. Like, those moments kind of didn't belong as much, but this one, they have a place here. Very much. Like, even though, like, a lot of these are, like, kind of, like, calmer songs, kind of, compared to stuff like Fata Morgana and stuff like that. Like, and even, like, tracks later on in the album, like maybe No Loss No Love, like, if that counts, but and Soft Spine, like, even they're like softer compared to those, they still have the screaming vocals, and they're still like, they fit with the album theme, with the album, like the delivery, with like the mood of the song, where it's going, and it's just so good that like I can't really say too much about that other than it's really good. You see, I'm kind of struggling to say anything other than it's really good because that's the truth. And then yeah, like Deep End is another really good song. This is the closing track, very atmospheric sounding, and I love the riffs, obviously. And we got to talk about the writing on this album. It is very like, I really enjoy Courtney's writing style. It is so like descriptive and stuff. It is so like different. It's not generic. I think that's what a lot of bands kind of fall into the trap do. They write these like metaphors and stuff, and they don't feel like they have any bite to them, and they're like there's a lot of like genericness in there, like phrases we've heard before, and like even though a lot of tracks are good, definitely from a lot of bands that I hear, like there's not the biggest, there's not like a semblance of like originality somewhat in the writing, even though like a lot of bands write themes that we've heard before. I feel like the lyrics on this album like have a good sense of like she phrases it in a way that's so unique, like in her writing style, in the band's writing style, really, like that's makes you interested in this theme, like with tsunamis and like with waves and the sea and the ocean and stuff like that. And it like keeps me intrigued lyrically with this album, I think. And yeah, it's just very like I think the same was true with the Fear of Fear, and then it's been the same ever since they broke out. Like I really like her writing style. I think it's really original. I'm glad that this kind of a band is getting a lot of attention because let's be honest, they deserve it for that reason. Crystal Roses is a song that might divide some people. There is some pitch shifting kind of. It's like they took like the treble of her voice and kind of upped it and like downed it a little bit. Like they like upped the treble and then I like took it down in the second verse. But it sounds pitch shifted, but it's like the vocals of this, like the melody of the song, the key of the song, if you will. It's kind of, I don't know how to feel about that, but I do know that I did enjoy the song nevertheless. I think it might be at least favorite on the album if I were to be perfectly honest. I feel like the song would have been conveyed a lot different, would have been cool if that pitch shifting wasn't necessarily there, but I kind of see what they were doing with that in particular. Like I kind of get what they were trying, something different, I guess, like which is something you see a lot of stuff with. But yeah, overall this is a very good song. I don't have a problem with it like at all, like aside from the weird pitch shifting vocals and stuff, which whatever. And then we got to get to like A Haven with Two Faces. That's another really good song on here. That one, Ride the Wave, is good. As well, A Haven with Two Faces, like longest track on the album, almost 6 minutes in length. 5.5 minutes is good enough for me. And yeah, this is some very melodic stuff. I think they do try to push some scream vocals in here, and again, it fits with the song, it fits with what Spiritbox is going for here, and everything that's done here is just super impressive. And yeah, this is the kind of album that you really needed after an album that kind of showed you to the world like this is what you were. Like Eternal Blue was the album that like showed that Spiritbox was not going to be lumped in with acolytes, with like clones of like other metalcore bands. They had their own unique vision of what they were doing with that album in particular, and it worked very well on that album for sure. Like, and like other stuff, and the Fear of Fear also showed that too. And Rotoscope, the EP, I didn't even mention that. That EP definitely showed a lot of like variety as well. This one expands upon that variety, and then Gives a lot of stuff that like isn't necessarily what a lot of radiotastic like metalcore music is. You know, at least some of the stuff that's big. I mean, I would easily put this as like kind of accessible but not accessible at the same time. Like I'm kind of lost in like describing how like this album could be marketed to somebody. Like it's just like so like um yeah, it is accessible in parts, but at the same time it's like nobody would expect to hear Fata Morgana on the radio, that's for sure. Or other songs. Or even Crystal Roses, maybe, I don't know. Would expect to hear those songs on the radio. But like as a whole album experience, and this album is very good conceptually at making this feel like an album, which it all across the board. This is a front to back album experience, and that right there is very important for an album to be good, in my opinion. Is that kind of like cohesiveness and like connecting sequences to each track. I mean, like the first two tracks connect very well. Then you go to Perfect Soul, which is like more like restrained, not like more like melodic and stuff. That continues with Keep Sweet. Then you go heavy again with Soft Spine, Tsunami Sea, which is a brilliant song. Um, and then like you get that varied and you get that experimentation as well. And then you end on a high note with Deep End. And man, that's really just all I have to say. I mean, like, this is like easily going to be one of the best albums of this year so far. I don't know about best yet. I haven't really thought about that far. But as for, you know, like everything I just explained and everything that's on the album, for sure. I don't know if I've left out any details specifically. This is great. This is a fantastic record, in my opinion. So, now it comes to dealing with what the score is going to be. And I was thinking about this throughout the album. Do I give it, like, the full, like, high score, like, or do I, like, restrain it a little bit? Like, I was thinking about this. This was seriously verging on the highest level. So, I'm thinking maybe a strong 9.9 like a strong 9. I don't give half ratings. A strong 9 to a light 10, maybe, which would make this the first 10 of the year. Hopefully not the last, for sure. And yeah, this is just a fantastic album. I definitely recommend it. I pre-ordered this week from Amazon, and I hope that there's vinyl copies at Target because I saw the vinyl for that. It looks great. The splatter, the white and black splatter vinyl, definitely looking forward to that. If not, I'll probably just get the regular vinyl, like, for sure, because like this album just didn't blow me away, but it's exactly what I expected to be and more, I think. I mean, this is like this is just proving that like one SPIRITBOX is like a band of the future, and they are like they shine a positive light on metalcore, and this is better than like all the like sea of junk that like I'm usually like subjected to like whenever I listen to metalcore and stuff like that. Like this is an exception to that. So enough of me rambling for now. Definitely a good album. Definitely check this out. What do you think of this album? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Which, I mean, it probably will have its haters, but what do you think of it? Comment section is obviously down below for you to check out. This is Scamp the Wolf signing out. Take care.